Welcome to the Career Corrective, your career lifeline that gives you laugh lines with Jenny and Allie.
There's a trick that I use.
Yes.
If you start to think about, am I angry? Am I sad? Do I feel anxious? Then you're going to start to go along with that feeling. You're going to make it worse. Naming the feeling is to distance yourself from it and to follow this process. So reframing would be, we'll go back to step one.
Okay.
I'm pissed off because this person cut me off in traffic. We're just starting with whatever comes to your mind, naming that feeling. I'm angry. Maybe I'm a little anxious that I'm going to be late to work. The point is naming them. It identifies it for you just to be able to go to the next step. But if you do it in the way where you buy into the feelings, that's the opposite of what you want to do. Now I'm angry. That person cut me off. What else pissed me off? You don't want to snowball it. You want to name it.
Would a healthy way of doing it be like, I'm angry that this person doesn't know how to drive, and I really think that they should get off the road right now or take another driving class. That would be helpful for them. And then I wouldn't have to deal with this right now and everybody else on the road. Was that a good way of doing it? That I reframed that. I made it about them. Like, gee, maybe they need to pull over and think about it.
Because that's the opposite of.
I reframed it. I took it away from me. I'm angry about it, but like, let's focus on them. What are they going through? Do they just not know how to drive? Right? I feel like that's a good suggestion. Keeping that one in my toolbox. Tell you that much.
The best part of the whole thing is how you're doubling down on it.
I'm angry, but I also have a lot of empathy for this person because what in the world is going on? Try it out today, guys.
You're going to get yourself more upset.
I reframed it. I'm upset, but I'm upset for them. I pushed it off on them. I'm sorry, everyone, that we're all on the road and that we have to deal with this. Not just me. You, Sharon, over there drinking your coffee, just trying to get to work. Bob, who should probably turn down his music because it's terrible,
Or just having fun with it and going in a different direction. You can name the feeling.
Sadness. All right, let's take a deeper dive into this because the other day I was coming home and there's this big...
Turning into an episode about road rage.
Just driving. We're going to reframe and just talk about driving. So I was going around. There's, you've been there. The loop. It's very confusing for people. It's like, oh, do I yield to you? We're yielding. We're not yielding. Blah, 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 blah. So I was coming through and this guy was coming on and just kept going. And he should have yielded to me. He needed to stop. And at first I slowed down and I gave him a look like, hey, what's going on here? And he just looked back at me. So I think I handled that very well. I didn't go off on him. I didn't throw my hands up going, what the heck are you doing? I just looked. I looked in his eyes like, whoa, sir, you're a little older. You shouldn't be on the road. And I think he knew it. He knew it at that moment. He gave me a look like, you're right. You're right. I'm going to let you go. And then I'm going to pull over and think about this, what I just did. And I felt good about it because I was like, I just did him the biggest favor of his life. I almost ran right into him.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I got us off track a little bit.
I think what I'm going to do is go into a different example and get out of the drive? Get into a topic that's less triggering for you. So now I know Jenny has issues with pumpkin spice and driving. Okay, you guys?
This is a theme. I've mentioned it before.
Driving?
Yes. With blinkers. That was episode 3.
Because
to
we
move
wouldn't have
on from it.
No, we wouldn't have gotten all that humor without it. Let's make the situation we identify the annoying coworker instead.
Okay.
You're on a project and somebody's not handing in their work or getting their stuff done on time, and you've had it. Write down or think about what's going on. Harold from accounting didn't get his stuff in again. Then you're going to name the feeling. This made me angry. This made me annoyed. This made me fearful that we're not going to get our project in on time.
Right.
With the feeling in mind, in step 3, what thoughts are making you feel that way? What about this feels unfair? It feels unfair that Harold never does his work on time and I'm always carrying the project. You know how you are, Harold.
Harold, you're always pawning it off and making me responsible for it.
Then you think about what evidence supports that thought. And it would be, he's done this to me before. It's happened over and over. And then you could, in reframing, think maybe Harold has stuff going on at home and I don't know about it.
That's right. You don't know.
Maybe no one's there to pack his lunch.
Yeah, he had a bad ham sandwich.
If you can, that's the crucial part in thinking of the evidence to support the thought that drove the feeling, which is, maybe I could cut Harold a break. Go full spectrum there to think all of what could be going on. Then you could approach Harold with kindness and empathy, but also you need to address it in a way that fixes the situation. Saying, Harold, if you can't get your work in on time, we're going to have to allocate that to someone else. I can't be carrying all of your work.
Harold, I'm really concerned that you're lazy and you don't contribute. Like, is everything going okay at home? Could you say that to him? It's none of my business, but I'm going to ask. Because your lack of effort is making me angry. See how I reframed that? See what I did there, listeners?
You are hilarious. Anything you can do to help yourself and clear out that emotion, process it, and get yourself to a positive place. That's what we're talking about.
That's yes. All right. We're going to talk about some work scenarios where we set the scene and then show how reframing can impact them, and then talk about each of them.
And maybe give some silly, hilarious suggestions as well. And you all get to guess which are real and which are nonsense. We're going to keep everyone on their toes.
Okay. All right. Here's the situation. Not speaking up in meetings. All right. Here's the backstory. Sarah has been part of her team for 6 months. She's smart, dedicated, has great ideas, but she hesitates to share them in meetings. She's worried that her suggestions might seem off base, so she stays quiet, nodding along. After a while, she notices that her team members don't look for her input, and she feels sidelined.
What's the reframe, Jenny?
Sarah thinks everyone here was hired because they have something to contribute, including her. So even if her ideas need refinement, it could lead to a solution. She said, speaking up in meetings shows that I'm invested and my ideas matter just as much as anyone else's. So, in the next meeting, she shares her thoughts, and her manager compliments her for bringing up a unique angle. And with that, it encourages her to contribute more. She keeps at it. Yeah.
This is illustrating the process so nicely, and it shows what would happen in a perfect world. I would love to add in some things that I think could make it more realistic for our listeners to be helpful.
Yes.
If you are uncomfortable talking in meetings and you have trouble with that, two things that I've done, and I've encouraged other people who have trouble with this, because a lot of times the reason you have trouble speaking up is because the culture feels unsafe. The culture feels fake. People are judgmental, and that's not in your head. In those situations, number one, speak up on regarding something that has nothing to do with your thoughts or your opinion, just to start. What I mean by that is, if somebody gives an example of something and you think it's a somewhat good idea, compliment them, talk about whatever you can find that's positive and genuine, because you're all genuine, amazing people, and that's why you'd want to listen to us. Think about something that you can say that is genuine and just get you comfortable speaking in a meeting. It doesn't need to be anything that you're contributing. Now, on the other hand of addressing how to build up a positive reputation, if you're not comfortable speaking up in meetings, do it in other ways to start. Can you do a follow-up email? I put this Excel spreadsheet together as a tool for everyone that could be used for A, B, and C, what we discussed in the meeting. Show your value in a way that feels good to you and coming from a place of confidence, and then address the speaking up in meetings in a different way. You segment the issues to attack both. And then those behaviors will then get you feeling better about yourself over time. And then eventually you may share one idea in a meeting that feels safe, and that's great. But don't limit yourself to, if you start telling yourself, speaking of reframing, if you start telling yourself, I have to speak up in meetings, it's the only way to show value, everyone has good, and you're forcing that, you're going to make yourself feel worse. You're going to make yourself feel more anxious.
Yes. That actually just happened to me in a meeting.
Whoa, really?
Yes. And I felt like I'm not speaking up. And after the meeting, I processed it and just said, okay, you didn't speak up in that meeting, but you're going to give it a shot at the next one. You do have a lot to add to the conversation, so you'll get your chance to do that. I downplayed it in my head.
You just gave a great tip too, because adding to the conversation is that next step. Putting yourself on the spot to bring about an idea feels like a lot of pressure. But if somebody says something, for example, if they said, I think we should send out the report on Fridays that contains our weekly numbers, and then you say, that's a great idea. We send out another report on Fridays, and I've noticed that it works really well for A, B, and C. You're tagging on, Jenny, to what they're saying, which feels a little bit more comfortable than this fresh, new, original idea. What you're planning on doing is a great way to build up that capability. And the downplaying that you're referencing is a reframe from the perspective of, you have a lot to offer and you'll get it next time. That puts you in a more positive state for whatever day that meeting was, to then continue on with your work. So it definitely was the best way to handle it. Great job.